All right. So I am going to try to attempt to unpack a really big issue here. It's a hot button topic. I don't see it going away anytime soon. And that is the conversation about AI and especially how it applies in the creative um, industry with, writing and even art. Artificial intelligence, has been booming over the last couple of years. I don't think there's an industry that I can think of that hasn't been touched by it or that some kind of, AI hasn't been implemented in that industry. There's a lot of questions that we don't have answers to. A lot of arguments on what's good, what's bad for AI, and I think with all things, considered, I think that moderation and caution is something that we should consider moving forward until we figure out how artificial intelligence is going to fall into our lives. Regardless of how you feel about artificial intelligence, I think it's here to stay. The proverbial cat is out of the bag, and I don't think that we can put it back in at this point. With that being said, we have to decide, what are the ethical ways to use it and how can we balance and leverage that without destroying creativity or destroying jobs. That's a good question. And I think that, there are certain ways in which we can use it as a tool, and not necessarily to actually generate the creative content. It could point us in the right direction. It could maybe answer questions, come up with writing schedules, editing, those types of things. But pushing it farther than that, you have to question where the ethical boundaries lie. And I think a lot of this has to do with we're still seeing some of these cases hash out in the courtroom as far as intellectual property theft, plagiarism, copyright issues, trademarks, you name it, and questions as to the authenticity of the artificial intelligence, depending on where it's getting its information from. And I think in order for us to understand the issues at hand, I think we do need to kind of understand how AI works. It is machine learning, so it is getting its information from an internet database. So it's a digital database. It's being programmed to search certain things, basically crawl over the internet, collecting data and spitting it out to you as the user based on the query that you've provided. So the prompt that you've put in for it to look. So with that being said, if your information is out there on the internet, let's say an artist has their artwork out on their website and they're trying to sell their artwork, theoretically, that bot or whatever engine that it is can go and collect that and use pieces of that artist's work in a rendering that somebody has requested based off of a prompt from AI. The fact of the matter is that these machines can't just come up with information from their own imagination because they don't have an imagination. They're a computer. You have to tell it what you want and it has to go out and find it. So for it to do it, it has to exist somewhere. It's the same reason, if you're telling it to, write you something, it's going to go scour the internet and look for things that hit your query, whatever you're asking it to look for. So when you're doing that, who's to say it doesn't copy a big bunch of words that somebody else has already published and then you incorporate it into yours? Now you have a messy plagiarism issue because your wording is exactly the same as somebody else. And that is the main issues on artificial intelligence, not to mention the fact that a lot of people believe that, eventually things like writing books and creating art could just go to the wayside and you no longer have human creators and you have nothing but computer creators. We're all hoping that that doesn't happen. I write books. I'm a human. I like human written books, probably better than AI written books. So, we have to decide where we draw the line, okay? Because whether you want to admit it or not, AI is here to stay, and we need to find ways in which to work with it. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are staunchly against it, and that's fine. You can have that standpoint. However, I think that the people who are going to dip their feet in the water and find ethical ways to use artificial intelligence are essentially going to go blow past the people who refuse to touch it in any way, shape, or form. Feel how you feel about it. You can boycott it all you want. I don't think it's going anywhere. So we're kind of stuck with it. So we need to find a way to deal with it. So like I said, the ethical considerations are that plagiarism, copyright, and just the authenticity of the work. There's not a human there. It's just a machine creating whatever you asked it to do. And so you get a lot of people online that say, well, I'm the artist that created this. Well, no, you're the person who was really good at input, a prompt. I wouldn't necessarily say that you created it. The computer created it based off of stolen IP from other creators out on the internet. And that's the unfortunate truth of it. So whether you like to hear that or not, you are not a creator if you are just generating from an AI prompt. Sorry, you're not an artist. You're just really good at writing prompts. So this kind of balance between this collaboration with the machine and automation, you have to be really careful not to take it too far. And no amount of machine is going to replace the human element. Even if you were to produce something via AI, you're going to have to review it and make sure that it didn't make up sources or make up history or, it may give you, like, let's say, for example, you're doing book research and you say, oh, I want to know some common slang words from the 1920s. And you type in that prompt and it gives you a big list of, the slang words in 1920 so that whenever you write your dialogue, it can be believable and historically accurate. You don't really know that, so you may want to, before you actually use some of those words, you may want to do your own kind of query on that word and make sure that the AI didn't just make it up, that it is actually a word that was used by people during that time. So you can't always believe everything that the computer generates is what I'm saying. And so it does have to be reviewed by a human. So like I said, it could be used as writers for a research tool. That would be an ethical way to use it. I believe anyway, you're using it as a tool. You're not using it to generate your content. So there are definitely some gray areas. This is all new. I'm sure there's going to be many, many more court battles over this before it's all said and done. But we're just going to take some time to kind of really dig into some of these underlying issues and try to prompt you to creatively use artificial intelligence in an ethical and positive way in your writing instead of cheating. Just say it is kind of cheating. So we will delve into that in a few videos. You're going to feel how you're going to feel about it, and it's okay. However you feel about it is okay. I'm just giving you some things to consider.